So my name is HShiner, and I did my senior project on civil engineering, the past, present, and future. Why civil engineering? So I've always been told that if you're good at math and science, you should do engineering. Growing up, I was pretty good at math and science. It just came easy to me. Like problem solving, it's just easy. So in the 6th grade, I was told about this ExxonMobil Bernard Harris summer science camp, and it was at UVA, and I didn't know exactly what it was. I was like, well, you know, it's for people who like math and science and like to work hands-on and like with construction of like robotics and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. I'll try it. So I went and I had a great time. It was probably one of the best times of my life. We stayed at UVA. We constructed robots. We did solar cars, stuff along that line. It was pretty fun. My internship. I did my internship with the Timmons Group, and this right here is my mentor, Craig Kotarski. He's the head civil engineer at the Timmons Group office in Charlottesville, so located on 2nd Street. And my first day, I walk in, and he's like, all right, well, you're a high school student. I don't know exactly what to do with you. So he stuffed me in this room. And there's this ginormous printer it was about as long as this presentation board. And he just told me, wait here, and when something prints out, get it and bring it to me. So while things were printing out, I just kind of looked at them to see what they were. And they were site plans for current project that they were on. And it was a middle school in Charlottesville. And they were building an auxiliary gym for them. So I saw what they were doing, and there were certain certain marks that they were made for certain areas. So when I brought the plans to him, I was asking, it's like, why there? What is it about? So he was telling me how what he does is stormwater management, and how recently that civil engineers now have to take into account their impact on the environment and reducing pollutants during construction of buildings. So he was wondering, he was calculating the area for where stormwater was going to run off, how much pollutants it would probably cause, if it was a flat surface like pavement, it'd be easier to run off compared to grass where it would soak through the soil. So I thought that was pretty cool. And for my research paper, I did it mostly on the recent advances in civil engineering and what the future holds. But in order to do that, I had to see into the past. So I saw, during my research, I found that mostly civil engineering was mainly for military use, as in walls for protection and barracks. But then later, it came in the Romans did aqueducts and the Great Pyramids, and also Machu Picchu in South America. And now it's more for roads, buildings for homes, construction of school. And civil engineering now. During my research, I found out about the American Society of Civil Engineers. And what they do is mostly try to insert technology into civil engineering. In the 1950s, they were main players in the construction of the interstate highway system and the space and defense systems in the U.S. And that, of course, needed technology, and they were big players into working out with civil engineering. And I also found out, or research about CAD, computer assisted design, that most civil engineers now use. It's to help them see what the building will look like before it's actually constructed. I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, for the future of civil engineering, most of my research I found out about education, about how they wanted to further educate civil engineers so they can problem solve. But then I also found out about nanotechnology and how recently there have been steps taken to use nanotechnology in civil engineering, where they can use nanotechnology to find out the structure, the integrity of a structure, and see if it needs fixing. And then there's recent advancements stating that nanotechnology can actually be used to improve that structure. For my community service, I wanted to help in the construction of a house with Habitat for Humanity, but at the time that wasn't available. I was trying to get some hours in. I was like, well, I can help out with anything for Habitat for Humanity. I just really want to help. So they told me about the Fluvanna Penguin Plunge, which was a fundraising event in which you pay $50 and you could either jump in the lake or in Lake Monticello or just support people. And it would go towards Fluvanna Meals on Wheels, Habitat for Humanity, the SPCA, and the Lake Monticello Fire Department. And my main purpose was to fundraise it not only to the community, but to the high school as well. It wasn't very successful because I didn't have a whole lot of time to really advertise it, and the date was kind of pushed back. So it kind of threw people off. But I still found it pretty interesting to communicate with people and talk to them and like try to get them involved in the community and help. Now, my legacy, I was fortunate enough to find out that there is a building construction for Habitat for Humanity. It's actually starting tomorrow, and I will be going and helping out them. It's technically a women's build. It's supposed to promote women's strength, but I was told that men could also come. It wasn't to discourage men from helping out because they want all help they can have. But in order, the women's build is to actually to inspire women, not just sit down and be themselves, to like come out and fight and support the community. And what I learned, well, going into this project, I really did not have a whole lot of information on civil engineering or engineering in general. Like I wanted to get into engineering classes in school. I had some scheduling conflicts. So I took this opportunity to find out about civil engineering, and I found out the different parts of civil engineering. Like I thought at first it was just like for building homes and houses, but now it's transportation, like I was talking about earlier, the stormwater, green civil engineering, coastal and ocean, of course the traditional surveying of the area, and geotechnical, which is pretty interesting. They see the integrity of the soil and the dirt on the actual place that they're going to build on, and they see if like it can support a building or not, and what they can do to help support it. Like, they can actually like dig into the ground, construct beams, or if they can just straight up just build on top. And for my advice to students, I would say don't procrastinate. It's really bad. I had some trouble with that myself. If I were more out there and more alert, I could have helped out with another building project. But I'm fortunate enough that this other building project that I'm about to work on tomorrow is actually available. And I would say that even when I was first finding my internship, it took me a while to find one that actually said yes. Like I emailed 5 different people at the Timmons Group themselves, along with other companies. And the first 4 people just straight up told me that you can't really do anything. I don't see purpose for you. No. So that was a little discouraging, but I was able to find someone, like a secretary at the Timmons Group, who actually led me to another engineer, who led me to an engineer, who said, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of time, but I like it how you're interested in this project and how you want to pursue civil engineering as a career. So I'll take you on. I'll try. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
The branches of civil engineering are supposed to be into, there were several, I can't remember all of them. Which one?
To me personally, probably the green engineering, just because how the impact on the environment and the construction, which before I didn't actually think that would be a part of civil engineering. I thought that was a whole different branch in itself. But I thought it was pretty interesting, and like seeing how to reduce the pollution that is caused during the construction. I thought that was pretty
Could you go back to that slide?
Yes, sure.
Is this something that you were thinking of pursuing in college?
Yes, I'm going to Virginia Tech. I'm studying general engineering right now. But this project really opened my eyes to civil engineering. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards civil engineering, but I don't want to fully invest in it. I also want to see what other types of engineering, because like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of experience in engineering itself. So, but yes, I probably will lean towards civil engineering.
There's problem solving everywhere, but I can see every one of those has their own set of problems to solve.